Here's the thing. I don't understand why no one's talking about this cow. It showed up in Ravnica with Murders at Karlov Manor. It was flying through the cow rift. We saw the cyclonic rift and the cow got sucked up into it. And then all of a sudden, we see it transformed from the radiation at Fallout, coming back down. And of course, this is changing universes, so it's getting beamed back down from an alien spaceship. Now, I know you'll say this is far-fetched, but it's the same cow. We can see how it's changed and transformed from the radiation. But come on, folks, it's crystal clear. This cow from the cow rift is now in Fallout. Let's talk about it. Today, I'm really excited to talk to you guys about all of the artworks from the Fallout Universes Beyond set that just came out. I, unfortunately, have never experienced the Fallout games. They seem like a lot of fun, but I don't have the buy-in like a lot of that niche community does. I'm still excited about the cards, though. I think there are some really fun things, like the Pip 3000, I think it was. I was really excited about. There's some good reprints, like Heroic Intervention. So, overall, I think it's a really fun set. And some really cool artwork, which is always my favorite thing, you know that. So that's what I want to talk about. Today we're talking about the 10 prettiest cards from the Fallout Universe Beyond set for Magic the Gathering.
As someone who's never played the Fallout games, I'm really excited to talk about the artworks today because, of course, artwork is the best part of Magic the Gathering. So these cards, I don't per se have the background or the knowledge to understand the perspective of the storytelling that's happening, but I can still appreciate the concepts, the structure, the color palettes, and the perspectives that I am interpreting as the reader of these artworks. These are in no particular order, but they are the 10 prettiest cards, in my opinion, from the Fallout Universe Beyond set for Magic the Gathering. Starting with Synth Infiltrator, I really like this artwork because it gives me a sense of where I am in this story. It's a new universe to me. I've never been a part of Fallout, and so having the structure, the mechanicalized, future dystopian landscape in the background where there's still some kind of modifications to our character up at the forefront there. I'm getting a sense of where I am in the story from this artwork. And so not only am I getting a sense of place, but I'm also able to see the major contrast that is happening between the characters themselves. You can see the woman at the front, she's hiding, she's seeking something of her own, but she doesn't want to get caught. I'm assuming, I don't really know. But there's also a man there that's approaching with a long sword. He appears to be wearing a lot of armor, but there's also a couple off on the side that are having a heated discussion. There's a crowd in the back. There's so much going on, so many buildings, so much structure, tall in the sky. It seems like that's the metropolis city center. So we're just able to see that harshness of the city, but it still has the soft, warm color palette. So that's inviting you into the space, telling you that's where you're meant to go. Even though it's this huge structure, the color palette softens your eye to where you are drawn to that area. That's where everything's happening, whether it be good or bad. Now, our character up in the forefront, I just love the artistic detail that's happening specifically on the artwork style. You're able to see it's not perfectly blended, but the way that the colors come together, I very much enjoy, like on the sunglasses and the jacket, the way that the colors do connect in a way that you're able to read it clearly, but it's still, you're able to see the strokes that were happening, the way that the pen or the brush moved to make those character come to life. I just really appreciate the contrast, not only in the storytelling from where she's standing up front to the city in the background with the color palettes, but I like the details that you're able to see of the art being produced here. Infesting Radroach is a really interesting one. If I'm thinking about a place that's been taken over by radioactive anything, of course our mind goes to cockroaches. They're the things that can outlast anything, and of course for Fallout, those are going to be radroaches. I really like this one. I know you might not think it's pretty because it's a roach, but hear me out. if we're having this roach up on the front here, I love this because it's like the roach jumped up and it's stuck itself onto the like your glass plate of your helmet or something. It's just right up in your face. It's terrorizing, but it's also the best way that you're able to appreciate the structure of the roach. So there's so much detail that's happening here within this artwork. I really appreciate the fact that we're able to see that from the positioning of it, but also just the storytelling that's happening in the background. Again, there's all this storm, this chaos, this smoke, this radiation that is wreaking havoc on the city. You can see how much chaos and destruction has happened. Even just the fact that there's, the metal shingles for the paneling of these building structures. There's just so much destruction, but the roaches are alive and thriving and taking over. They're everywhere, but we get to have all this detail from the roach up front. So it's bringing action. It's bringing you directly into the story world, but I love to see the way that the color palette changes for the roach. I think that it's very much feels like I'm in a video game still. Like, this isn't the most realistic cockroach or rad roach that I've seen, but just the way that it's conveyed through this artwork, I feel like it's very realistic, but also in the sense that I'm getting this from some kind of video game, or it just feels like I'm immersed in a place other than ultra realism, so hyper realism. So I very much appreciate the type of artwork that was used here. Vault 13, Dweller's Journey. I love sagas and anything that relates that way, so just having that kind of vertical interest for artwork is just already appealing because it sets you apart from other Magic cards. But I really like this one because I like the sigil that's kind of happening. Again, I don't know the story world, so I don't know what's actually happening, but to me it looks like a sigil. It looks like someone's paying homage to, where they came from, what they're hoping to find, kind of romanticizing the past for your future, kind of the good old days, but also the grass is always greener. So there's just a lot of hope and reminiscing that's happening. You can see that from the bottom where it's nighttime, it's the sigil kind of a vibe where, the candles are lit, we're lighting up and remembering that hope that we have. And then at the top, you can see there is a lot more light and, we're able to be on that next day, but still remembering that we need to have that hope so that we don't go back to the destruction that brought us to the evils of the world in the first place. So I really like the structure of the darkness, but having the hope at the bottom. And then when we're at the top, we're still able to see those familiar candles, but they're lit up in a whole new way. So the storytelling that's just happening there, I think is very interesting. And even though I don't know what this is referencing, I think that just the vertical structure of this, really it's the structure of this piece. I mean, it just is storytelling you from top to bottom, bottom to top, left to right. There's just something to always catch your eye about what is this trying to tell me. And that's what I appreciate about the artwork, which, sagas are supposed to do that. They have a first step, a second step, a third step. So, there's supposed to be something new at every element. So I think it definitely connects back to Magic the Gathering, which is pretty cool. Up next, we have Sierra, Nuka's biggest fan. I've talked about this type of artwork in the past. I super enjoy when the focal point of our artwork is hyper realistic and, it's very apparent that this is what we're looking at, but the background is like blurred in a way. I think it adds so much texture to your artwork, but also has you understand that, the rest of everything else in the world is kind of fading away because we're trying to hyper focus on our character, on our focal point, on what they're trying to communicate, convey, the emotion that they're wrapped up in, how they are connecting us to that world. Everything's blending around us, just like the background is blurred. Everything around us is blurred because we are becoming a part of the artwork. So I just love that concept that our subject is, very crisp and clear, but then the background is blurred. I really like the antiqueness of the background, that, cutesy Coca-Cola bottle or whatever in the background, the animatronics of it, I think is hilarious. And to have it be run down like the old, shut down amusement park kind of vibes. I think that's very fitting for a radioactive landscape. But then having her be able to be so detailed, all of the highlights in her hair, the way it's twisting and just able to have just movement still. And I really like the highlights on her shirt and her hair, on her glasses. I just think it's so interesting. And of course that beautiful spark. It's just so pretty. So I think that this was very well done. I very much enjoyed this. And of course extended art is always better. The Lipton Lottery, man, I don't know about this one. I think it might be one of my all-time favorites. I just think it's so interesting, the chaos of the excitement that's happening on his face. I don't know if he's one of the people that, started the flames. I don't know, but there's just a sense of freedom that's happening, but also escape. So it's just very chaotic and rueful, but also hope-driven and just like excitement. So there's so much going on here, like emotion-wise, but the fact that, there is coolness around him, but the way that he's angled to be slightly off kiltered on this card, to have him be completely engulfed in flames all around him, I think is very interesting. Even the fact that the smoke is like billowing from behind his head rather than a burst of flames, I think that was probably intentional, and it makes him look like he's running away where the smoke is funneling after him. I just think it's very interesting, and I love the flames and everything. It really does. I feel like I can feel the heat there, the sparks going off on the side, the embers floating in the air. I just think there's a sense of freedom to this card that comes from any kind of destruction. So I would be very interested to see how, the radioactive landscape that we're already in, this dystopian society, and everything's already chaotic, but then have something in such a place that's already filled with so much negativity to be also wreaked havoc upon from such a thing as this huge fire, how that changes the people and the community. I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of story arcs that would be interesting to see how they all come together. And this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to play the game. It's artworks like this and things like the brutish thespian. I think this is such an interesting character. Gosh, they are sitting on top of some kind of other person. Did they kill them? I don't know. Was it like a situation gone bad? Did he stumble upon this? Is he strong, the brute that was able to overtake this man? But he's also this thespian that can appreciate life and consider it afterwards. I don't know. But I very much enjoyed this color palette. I think the idea of the glowing night from the city life, but also from I'm saying it again, radioactive nature of this landscape and behind him with the greens fading into the blues of the night sky, I think is beautiful. But then they also have the glow that is upon Strong himself. I'm assuming from this lamppost that's above him, but it's kind of that thing where you see it's highlighted because you can see the light circle on the ground from the lamppost. At the same time, there's a certain glow upon Strong, the brutish thespian himself. So is that also because of how distorted he is from this radioactive scenery that he himself is now having a bit of a glow? And that's what the thespian takes over, that, he's able to appreciate the dark sides of life, the light sides of life, the poetry of it all. And that's where his glow for life comes from. Is it from this negative, horrible radioactive scenery that's affected him so much to have this physical outward appearance that's so ugly that he is able to understand life in a different capacity? Gosh, it's just a circle, isn't it? True poetry, and I love it so much. And you're able to see the hustle and the bustle of everything behind him, but he's found this slow corner in the world. I just think it's so interesting. This just story-wise, I love this card. It's so cool. Atomize, I think, is really fun. Obviously, it stuck out to me from the color palette, just the glow of the atoms breaking apart here, exploding. So interesting. The green is very beautiful against the pinks and purples of the sunrise happening that's getting ready to happen. So, of course, the colors that were used here are what brought me to this card. But as I examined it, I really liked the different structures and the different ways that the radioactive transformation is happening, the way the atoms are bursting in many different forms. So you're able to see, the kind of swoops and the movement of the softness of it, but then there's these really harsh pieces that jump out. There's ripping, there's tearing, there's, things that are fading into one another, ones that are just bursting away, all the specks at the bottom that are just falling apart, falling away from him. There's pieces that are jumping off towards the top left, but then there's spirals flares coming out of the sun or a star that are on the top right. I mean, just all the different ways that this is happening. It's so interesting. Very well done. It's truly an atomize, the chaos of it, you could never predict any of it. The unpredictability of it, I think, is what is partly being conveyed here. Even the fact that like the skin is being ripped apart, but it's being broken in other areas, and then it's just fading and melting in other spots. It's just it fits the plot, it fits the story. Good job. Harold and Bob, I think I just liked the monochromatic color palette here. You know, you're in a forest, which of course I love. You're becoming one with the forest from the radioactive scenery. I mean, they have branches growing out of them. I think it's fully happened here with this man that has completely become the tree. But just even like the little fungi that's growing at the root. I do love the branches that are growing out of them. I just think it's very interesting, but anything that's going to go across monochromatic palettes, I very much enjoy. But when you first look at this, you see a sense of softness that you assume is from the leaves and the canopy of this forest. But I think the more you examine it, you don't know if there's a magic to their chanting and their blessing that is something happening here, or is it also just a part of the I don't have another word of the radioactive nature that is around them, that there's just this glow, this cloud, this mist that's constantly engulfing them that they refuse to escape from, because that's part of what they are worshiping, that they are becoming one with nature. Things are going back to the way they were meant to be. Nature becomes nature. I don't know. It's just very beautiful. This version of dog meat is the only one that matters. The other one is very cute. I love it so much. And even him in that basilisk collar, I think is so fun. I love this artwork because it's my most favorite one for the showcase format, because he's such a good boy. He's smiling. He's posing for the camera. It doesn't matter that there's destruction all around him. He's always going to be a good boy. I love this so much. But if we're talking about showcase, the coolest showcase I've seen from this amazing set has to be, hands down, Nuclear Fallout. The other version of this is okay. It's still interesting. But this version, oh my gosh, it's like everything, it's like you're holding up an x-ray and you're able to truly see like the inside of everybody, but you know at the end of the day that this is still just like truly reality. Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's just like something about it. Honestly, I think it's cool. I just think it's cool. There's skeletons, there's fire, there's glass shattering. It's a family scene, so there's like that juxtaposition between the good and the bad, the death and the alive. I just love it. I think it's cool, and that's why I like Nuclear Fallout. It's just really cool. And thankfully, those are the 10 prettiest cards from the Fallout series. I'm so glad that you were able to be here to talk about that journey with me, but you fell to my trap. That was just a ploy. The main reason I got you here was to talk about this cow. This is the most important lore building, story building information that we have gotten for Magic the Gathering from Wizards of the Coast in 2024. You need to know all of this. Okay, so this is a tangent I'm willing to die on. We have, starting everything off with Cyclonic Rift from Ravnica Remastered, specifically the anime Borderless. We say Cyclonic Rift, or what we really mean is the Cow Rift, okay? There's a tornado, it is rifting up everything, causing chaos, wreaking havoc, and we have this poor cow getting sucked into this rift, right? It's the Cow Rift. We see the cow. It's front and center. That's amazing. Beautiful artwork. Anyways, the cow is switching over into the multiverse, which we see with Fallout, Wild Wasteland. We see the cow. Okay, yes, it was a tornado first, and now we have an alien spaceship. Are there aliens in Fallout? I don't know. Again, I have not played, but that's apparently what's happening, which makes sense because we were once in Ravnica, and now we are in the space that is Fallout. The universe has changed. We are crossing planes, crossing the multiverse. We are escaping where we once were, falling ourselves into this new timeline, into this new alternate reality. We are switching timelines, people. It makes sense that the tornado would now transform to a different carrying device, right? The important thing is we see the cow. But it is very different. We notice something. It has two heads. Why does it have two heads, you ask? Because, again, the word that we've said so many times, radiation, right? Okay, there's so much radiation in this place, and it's been here for so long that the cow is being transformed, having a second head now because it has to make sense in this universe. it is being affected from the radiation. It is overdosing on this radiation as it is coming into this universe, this multiverse. So the particles of it were slowly transforming as it was being carried over, starting to fall into this new world. And so that's why it didn't die right away. It wasn't an overdose because it was slowly affecting it. Its molecules, it was becoming atomized, right? So the radiation is affecting it. And we can fully see this up close and personal. We get the receipts, people, with Chaos Warp. We have the cow. We can see it's a cow, full forest, full and center. Yeah, we see the two heads. But at the end of the day, it's the cow. It is the cow. That's what's happening. And, I just want everyone to know that Cyclonic Rift, the Cow Rift, really did cross over into Fallout with Wild Wasteland and Chaos Warp. We can see the storyline. Here it is, folks. Cyc Rift to Chaos Warp. Cow to cow. It's the same cow. I need you to know this. Thank you so much for my TED Talk.
Now that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know that Fallout isn't particularly the prettiest set out there. So for Universe Beyond, I think it's a whole lot of fun. There's some really good cards in there. What was it? Like the PIP 3000, that artifact was going to be really good for Commander. But also some good reprints. So stuff like Heroic Intervention. So I think overall it's a really fun set. Unfortunately, I didn't play the game, so I don't have the buy-in like a lot of that community. But I still think it's a lot of fun. And of course, the artwork is always going to catch my eye. So it might not be a pretty set, but it's still a whole lot of fun to talk about with you guys. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing, commenting, sharing, just supporting the content any kind of way you can, just so that I can continue to make this kind of stuff, because it's so much fun talking about magic cards. Who doesn't want to talk about magic cards? So anyways, thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day and happy gaming.